a man in this world, right, in Iran, who says the following. It says, the Holocaust, Shoah, never happened, but I'm going to make sure it does. Right? There is a man who exists today who says that. I'm going to wipe Israel off the map. You know how many Jews are in Israel today? 5.95 million, something like that. You know how many there'll probably be once he gets his nuclear bomb? 6 million Jews in one place, one part of the world. Ironic, isn't it? Here's a man 65 years after the Holocaust, which everyone said would never happen again. And he says he'll make it happen the first time. He doesn't believe it happened first. Right? That's a big problem. What I want to do, and I can show you this will only be for a few minutes. I have here some very interesting cartoons. Okay? One operation, so that failed. Right? In the year 2000, I'm passing around these papers. Everyone should take one. In the year 2000, Hezbollah in Lebanon kidnapped 3 Israeli soldiers, 2 Jews and a Druze Arab. They were dead and we knew it. And then they went and kidnapped a guy called Elchanan Tannenbaum, who was an Israeli drug dealer and former colonel in the army. They teased him to come to an Arab country for a drug deal. He went, they kidnapped him. We released 450 prisoners to get back Elchanan Tannenbaum, the drug dealer, and 3 dead bodies. So there's a history, and Hezbollah know it, and Hamas know it. Okay, let's read this article by Naomi Reagan, who's a fairly famous, at least in the English-speaking world in Israel. He's an ex-American. Well, he never ex-American. I was giving lectures there as well, as part of the team of the Jewish Agency, and I would argue more then that, releasing terrorists, what does it do? It encourages terrorism. And it says, hey, kidnap any Israelis you want. In fact, an Israeli got kidnapped today. I don't know if it's connected to terrorism yet, but an Israeli got kidnapped in Nigeria today by 4 gunmen. Haven't seen him since, but they're waiting to find out whether it's terrorism or crime or whatever. Regardless, it encourages, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's what I said when I was in Connecticut, Massachusetts. But now I have a son. And I look at my son and I say, hey, Prime Minister, whoever that's going to be, if you want to send my boy out to fight, or to be in a green uniform, you're going to go and get him if anything happens to him. And Israeli soldiers know in this country that we don't leave the boys behind in the shekel. We don't leave them back in the field. If someone is killed, they go and get them. If they're injured, people risk their lives to go and get them. Okay? People look after each other, Jewish brother and Jewish brother and sister. If you're kidnapped, we'll come and get you. Or won't you? Alright, that's the question. There's issues here. A lot of people say, don't release terrorists, you encourage terrorism. Are you willing to go to Noam Shalit and say, we know your son's alive, he'll spend the rest of his life having Pesach Seder with Hamas? Are you willing to do that? Any thoughts?
Well, in that clip that showed that one of the fathers of one of the 2 that were released, he said that he seemed to be saying that Israel should not have done.
I think it was after the point. He was saying after he saw the coffins, if I'd known, well, maybe he would have changed his mind. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Isn't there another side to it, though? You're saying parents want to know that because Israel has no terror policy, will help their kids in such a way that will be less threatened to terrorism.
People argue that. You've got to think about the national interest.
It's not just national interest. When a soldier's going out in the streets, there's a much smaller chance he's going to actually get kidnapped, or whatever it is, because of this policy. Right. So it's actually safer for the soldier, too. It's like a precaution.
Yes.
You're saying, you're looking at it one way, that if the terrorists know that if we're going to give them back what they want for the soldiers, they're going to kidnap more soldiers.
Right.
You could do it. You could flip the coin. If the terrorists know that if they kidnap our soldiers, we're going to come after them with everything we got and wipe them off the map just to get back our soldiers, they're not going to touch us.
We win.
But
After them in the Lebanon war.
And we pulled up for what reason?
What?
And why did we pull out?
Because we couldn't beat them. Yeah, that's a whole other story, but I guess
I don't think we couldn't beat them.
No, of course. Listen, if you want to kill every Muslim and Arab
So the
in the
que-
entire Middle East, you can do it in 5 minutes.
So the question is-
that's for sure.
The question is, what do you value more? Putting in more into the war or giving back to terrorists? So it's a political thing again.
That's a-
Has nothing to do with this.
But there's a cost. You know, right now we could send 20,000 soldiers into Gaza, but could be that 500 don't come back. And you've got to be able to turn to the Jewish parents and say, sorry, folks, that's it.
There's an organized like punishment set up, system set up where the Sharon had happened in Gaza.
Right.
It was in Gaza, no? They have this policy that, let's say, for example, an Arab will rob a soldier,
Right.
and his father gets like a local grant, like some $100, that's it. And it's a set up thing.
Right.
And for all the years that he was commander over there, there was no terrorism over there. Right? And again, like there was a certain setup, you know, it's like punishment, like everything's measured out. You know, you do this, you get this punishment. They know. You know?
I think we've tried that, you know, that's the problem today. Because Hamas today is not the Hamas of rocket throwing in the 80s. Today they throw missiles. And we've tried it, for example, with thousands of Qassam rockets hitting the city of Sderot, right? So Israel tried to cut the electricity by 5%. We've closed the borders. You know, that's not kidding. I mean, we can be human about it. Gaza people are living a pretty rubbish life. You know, they've got no way to get things in and out. I'm not necessarily against that policy, but that's what Israel decided.
What if
Middle East, and it hasn't helped.
What if Israel had like an organized policy, for example, when every rocket that hits Sderot, we're clearing out one block of Gaza becoming Israeli property. You know, an organized thing, and that's the Palestinians know about this.
Listen, I might agree with you. Question is, I'm not sure it will help, and I'm not sure the world will let us do it. And it's nice that we say, and I'm an advocate for Israel, it's nice that we say, who cares what George W. says, or Barack Hussein Obama, the next president, or whoever. What a surprise that guys like you want. All right, so... Right?
For you too. Israel's gonna go first.
Very interesting having Barack Obama.
Yeah, bro.
Anyway.